Your secrets, if you really look at yourself, you would be speechless. What happened to being doctors and teachers? What happened to being your brother's keeper? Nowadays kids more.
Yo, what it do, y'all? It's your boy Mr.BandClap in the building. Welcome to another episode of BandClap TV, y'all. As always, shout out to Melia Marjorie and Gemstones. Yeah, man, you know I'm always rocking the jewelry, man. Also, shout out to Freedom for sponsoring this video. As you can see, I'm outside feeling the rays of this beautiful shine. Living in Aquarian age. What a beautiful time. You already know. So today's podcast is going to be about the Orishas. Yeah, we going back to that, y'all. Man, shout out to all the Nigerians who supported my last podcast, man. So many Nigerians reached out to me, thanking me and wanting me to spread more awareness to their spiritual system, which is something that I definitely want to do. So this podcast is going to be about the Ibeji twins, aka the Gemini twins. Shout out to all my fellow Geminis out there, y'all. All right, so without further ado, we got a lot to talk about. So let's get this show on the road. So for the Artist Spotlight series, I got two very talented artists that I want to spotlight. One, his name is Pough, Alan Pough Productions. Man, this dude is one of the most hardest working producers that I met when I was in Atlanta, man. This dude is super cool, down to earth, but his beats are dope. I can't lie, man. I got him on green lights. That song will be released very soon, and you can check out his lyrical abilities, because he's a dope lyricist as well. So that's a deadly combo. Also, somebody else that I want to spotlight, her name is Lady Vee the Poet. Man, she is a very accomplished poet. She's been doing a lot of good things in Atlanta, putting on different artists and underground talent down there in Atlanta, and I like to shed a light on that, and I like to see especially us melanated people working together and making a difference, a positive difference in just all around. So shout out to Lady Vee the Poet and her LLC. I'll put her information below. Also shout out to Alan Pough. And I got a treat for y'all. They sent me over some of their music. So after this snippet that I'm about to show y'all, I'm going to get to my main podcast, which is going to be about the Ibeji twins and about not letting others block your blessing. So after this, we're going to get to the podcast. So hope y'all enjoy this snippet.
Steps to a brand new start. Life doesn't stop, gotta keep going. Vision is clear, passion overflowing. What's the next step? Never look back. Take that chance, on the right track. Yesterday's gone, now is what matters. Plan your destiny before your dreams shatter. Gotta dream, build, grow, repeat. Passion overflows to make the ends meet. You gotta dream, build, grow.
Alright, y'all, so we back. Welcome to another episode of the BandClap TV podcast, man. Talking about the Ibeji twins today. But before we get into that, I want to get into some current events. And as you can see by the instrumental that I got playing in the background,
you know I'm gonna talk about the Black Panther, man. You already know. Shout out to Ryan Cooper, the director of this movie. This is gonna be a highlight, a definite highlight of 2018. I hope all of my melanated brothers and sisters go out and watch this movie. It's already got a 7.7 out of 10 as far as for the IMDb score. So that is dope, and it hasn't even came out yet. So as the Gemini that I am, you already know I'm about to go into some deep shit with this movie, man. Just by Marvel's decision on making this movie come out on February the 16th, 2018. That is the official release date of the Black Panther. Now, I'm about to get on my Black Dot tip. Shout out to Black Dot, man. I've been studying numerology since 2015. Yeah, since 2015. So I'm not gonna say that I'm super well versed in it, but I'm still learning to talk about it a little bit. So, as you all know, we're in the year 2018. You add 8 plus 1 plus 2, that equals 11. A little bit about the number 11, because I myself am a number 11 when it comes to my life path. And 11 is a double one, and it's all about creativity, innovation, independence. It's a very foundational energy, and it's all about love and spiritual illumination. With that being said, when you know these things about numerology and things like that, and you're able to pinpoint the type of energies that deals with these numbers and things like that, because it's very powerful. And a lot of our businessmen, a lot of our movie companies, they put movies out at a certain time because they know that there's a certain energy that's going on, and they would like to capitalize off of that. Now, this isn't necessarily a bad thing, and in this case of the Black Panther, it's a very good thing, and I'm about to explain to you. With Marvel, I love Marvel. They deal with a lot of metaphysics, as you all know. Well, every single character that a lot of these movie companies portray, whether they have black skin or white skin, if you go back into ancient African spirituality, you'll find out that a lot of these Marvel characters deal with our stuff, like our ancient spirituality. Just like what I said in the last podcast, you look at Thor. Thor is derived from the story of Shango, which is ancient Yoruba Santeria spirituality. Just like Storm in Marvel. Storm is just another representation of the goddess Oya. So Marvel is no stranger to our spirituality, and for a lot of us that recognize that pattern, I won't put it past the producers and the people that control the movie releases that they would release it on this particular day. So let me break that down for you. So, as I said before, February 16, 2018 is the release date of the Black Panther. February, that's the number 2, 16, 6 plus 1 equals 7, and 2018, that equals 11. So, 2 plus 7 plus 11, and that equals 20. So, 2, 0. 2 plus 0 is 2. So, we're back to the number 2. So, as you can see, there's no coincidence that Marvel would drop the Black Panther on February the 16th, because it represents the number 2, which goes back to universal year 11. 1 plus 1 is 2. So we dealing with this number 2 energy. So I bet y'all are like, all right, so what the hell is so special about this number 2 that you keep talking about? Well, I'm about to explain that to y'all. When you look up the numerology of the number 2, the number 2 represents the divine feminine. You know, it represents the sacred mother. It represents the yin energy and the harmonious union, or the peace between different entities. The number 2 also represents unity. It represents understanding. It represents power. It represents diplomacy. It represents peace. And it also represents avoiding confrontation. Another thing that I found out about the number 2 also is that the number 2 can also be underestimated at times when it comes to its power and strength. But when put to the test, number 2 can be very powerful and victorious in any battle. And last but not least, the number 2 deals with working in the shadows, being unnoticed, but with unmatched power. Now, all these things that I just described about the number 2, what person better describes those characteristics better than the Black Panther himself? And don't get too hung up on the number 2 being represented as the sacred feminine, because remember, the sacred feminine, also known as the yin energy, is always represented as a black energy, and the sacred masculine is always represented with light. Now, I don't want to get too metaphysical with y'all. Y'all can look that up, but Marvel knew what they was doing when they decided to drop the Black Panther on February the 16th, 2018. So I can already predict that this movie is going to be a definite grand slam in the box offices, just because the energy that is going to be surrounded by this movie. So man, I'm super excited. Hope y'all got a good numerology lesson. So in other news, I, DJ BandClap, will be DJing at the Full Sail Hall of Fame February the 10th all the way up to the 16th. So to all my artists out there, if you want me to spotlight your music, be sure to send me an email. Make sure that the music is clean, because I will be screening it before I spin it. Please and thank you. All right, y'all, so time to get into the topic. So today I'm going to be talking about not letting others block your blessing. I know people always say that. I've been hearing that growing up. My mom and dad always told me that. But one thing that I learned at an early age was, when you're really at that point where you want to follow your purpose and you really want to walk in that purpose, not everyone is going to agree with you or understand where you're coming from at the beginning. And sometimes that can be family. So you can't let that stop you. I remember just a little story about me before I get into the Orishas. I've always had a gift of rapping and doing music. I started out being a piano player in church, went from that to making like little small beats on the little keyboard that my mom bought me when I was a kid. But I had an uncle that was 3 years older than me, so I always called him my cousin. Shout out to Young Ease. He was the first person that really introduced me to rap, because the strict household that I was raised in, I was not allowed to listen to rap. My mom and dad called it the devil's music. I mean, all my Christian brothers and sisters know the struggle of trying to listen to the so-called secular music in a heavily Christian household. But it was just something about rap that really fascinated me as a child. I mean, in school, I was already the top of my class when it came to English, when it came to writing. I wrote the best stories, I wrote the best poems, but my uncle, or my cousin, was really the one that introduced me and actually taught me about rapping, about 16 bars and about punchlines and all of that stuff. So around the time I was like 9 years old, when my mom was going into labor with my little brother, Randy, I stayed over my grandma's house, you know, with my uncle for about a week or so. And while I was staying with him, we had this little karaoke machine that worked by cassette tapes and this little keyboard that he got for Christmas. And all we would do was just sit down and write raps and record ourselves rapping and all of that stuff. And I was so excited about what I just learned. I remember calling my mom while she was still in the hospital and reciting her my rap that I just wrote. Now, mind you, a lot of our influences back then were 3 6 Mafia, Project Pat, Gangsta Pat, Player Fly, because you know I'm from Memphis, so all of the Memphis, old school Memphis greats is a lot of what we listened to back then. So yeah, my rap was a little It's a little raunchy. I don't think I had no cuss words in it, I don't think, but I did say nigga a lot. And as soon as my mom got the strength after her maternity leave, man, she whooped the mess out of me. And my dad did as well. So when it came to me doing what my newfound love to do was, I really had to kind of hide it from my parents. I mean, my dad would raid my room, steal my rap books, burn them, throw them away. My mom would whoop me, not let me go around my uncle and all of that no more, saying he was a bad influence. You know, the typical Christian upbringing. To the point where in 6th grade, I stopped rapping, tried to do the gospel rap thing, but it just didn't feel right. So 2 years, I quit rapping and I was miserable. I mean, I've never been so miserable in my life. But things changed for me once I got into high school. Preferably the 11th and 12th grade is when I really started back rapping again. And my creativity was stronger than ever. And it just got to the point where I'm just like, fuck it. Like, this is me. And whoever don't like it, I really don't give a shit. I mean, that was my attitude. And once I graduated from high school, that's when I bought my first laptop, got Audacity, started recording myself rapping, just started making, you know, little songs. They weren't too good, but it was a start. And I just kept at it and kept at it and kept at it until fast forward to 2010 when I'm about to leave and go to college. And I remember the first song that I actually let my mom hear was My First Love. That was the first rap song that I rapped since I was 9 years old that I actually let my mom hear, because things kind of changed between me and my mom. My mom is a gospel singer, so now she has a producer, and now she's a lot more lenient when it comes to the music industry, because now she's in it and she can kind of respect things a little bit more. So I let her hear it, and it kind of brought tears to my eyes just listening to her talk about how good it was, and she really loved it, seeing her bob her head to the music and things like that. Now my dad, it took a little bit longer for him to come around. My dad didn't really come around until it got to the point where I started DJing at a local club called the C&M Lounge right across the street from where I stayed at. And as soon as I started bringing money in the house, that's when my dad was kind of like, all right, whatever. To this day, my dad don't fully agree with it, but his thing is, as long as I'm bringing in money, he don't really care that much, because, you know, I'm grown now. So, and I've proved to them that I can still be a dope lyricist without being degrading. So in the end, all roads led back to me pursuing my purpose all over again. Now, the story of Oshun and the Ibeji twins is kind of an example of what happens when you decide to let the majority crowd try to shun you and make you deny a blessing that you have, and how you lose that blessing. So for those who seen my last podcast, when I broke down the story of Oshun and Shango, I stated that Oshun had twins with Shango, and these twins were called the Ibeji twins, the Gemini twins. So the thing was, back in that time, there was not a such thing as human twins. The only time people seen a mammal having multiple babies would be like animals or something like that. It wasn't a normal thing at all for humans to have twins. And as you know, people fear what they don't understand. So Oshun didn't realize the blessing and the miracle that her and Shango created with these two Ibeji twins. And what ended up happening was, a lot of the townsfolk and a lot of the people that was around the kingdom started to kind of shun Oshun and call her a witch, you know, calling her evil because she's been blessed with these twins. But they looked at it as, she must be some type of evil witch to be cursed with this travesty known as having twins. Now, one thing about Oshun that I didn't pinpoint or talk about in my last podcast is that Oshun represents the heart chakra, and in her stories it shows how Oshun had a good heart. But some of the drawbacks of her having a good heart was, number one, she was easily offended, which is something that most good-hearted people go through sometimes. And number two, she put others' thoughts and feelings and emotions over herself. So she put herself last and put others first. When you really look into the story of Oshun, you see that Oshun went through a lot of things. Like, she had a lot of loveless relationships. I mean, she did a lot of things for the benefit of the kingdom, you know, things that she most likely wouldn't have done herself, but just because it was something that the kingdom needed, she did it just out of the goodness of her heart, which isn't necessarily a bad thing when you think about it. But my opinion is you should never put anyone before yourself. That's just how I think. Others may disagree, but that's just how I view it. Now, Oshun, seeing all of this negativity being thrown at her, instead of her standing on her ground, standing on her square, saying, you know, fuck what y'all think, I got a blessing and I'm going to treat this as a blessing, what did Oshun do? Well, she began to deny her twins. And she was like, they ain't mine. I don't know who these kids is. I mean, I don't know exactly how she did it, but in the stories it just says that she denied her twins. So once Shango got word of this, that Oshun denied her twins, Shango went and took the twins away from her and gave them to his mother, Yemaya, to raise. Now, just a little bit about Yemaya. She is the mother of the ocean. She is the great mother of the Orishas. And if you want to know more about Yemaya, I'll be talking about her in future episodes. And long story short, Oshun ended up being excommunicated from the kingdom, and everything that she worked so hard to build, including her relationship that she had with Shango, was torn down right in front of her eyes. And little did she know, these Ibeji twins will grow up to be some of the most powerful Orisha that are in the diaspora. So that's what happens when you deny your purpose and you let others block your blessing. Things like that happen. So that's my story, y'all. This has been another episode of BandClap TV. Shout out to Al Poe. Shout out to Lady Vee the Poet. Man, I'll be talking a lot about those two in future episodes as well. Make sure y'all follow me on YouTube, Rapper PDP. Follow me on Facebook, BandClap TV, Instagram, BandClap TV, Snapchat, Mr.BandClap. If y'all want to hear more stories about the Orishas and things like that, be sure to let me know. And all right, y'all, peace out.